Hello, I'm Lauren. I am a part-time reseller. I have been for over 15 years. I've been on Poshmark since October of 2014. It is now October of 2022, which means I have been on Poshmark for 8 years. So I wanted to talk about Poshmark Live Shows. I've done 2 Poshmark Live shows, and so far it's been quite the experience. It's the first time that I've ever done a live show on any selling platform. So I just wanted to kind of give a quick overall take on it, a little explanation, and then I will do maybe like a video series to kind of go more in depth on maybe like my setup, how I do shipping, all of that. So if you're interested in that and you want to get notified, subscribe to this channel. You can click the little bell. It'll notify you when new videos are popped up. Okay, so to get started, the first 2 live shows, you can have 50 items per live show. What that means is I can load 50 of my listings into the Poshmark Live Show as I'm setting it up. And that way, as I do auctions and everything, it just keeps going through all of them. And so with 2 live shows and 100 items, I've had 92 items with bids on them. First show I had 46 items with bids. My second show I had 46 items with bids. I'll go into that later on. But with that being said, when you set up your closet, I recommend putting them in number order, meaning select your 50 items, set them up, number each item, and then go into your closet and go on a laptop. It's quickest for me on a laptop, and change the title of your listing to have a number in the front. That way, when you input it into your show, it's in order. So if someone sees an item and they say, okay, I want to look at number 8, I can go to number 8, I can scroll very quickly to number 8 and start the bid. That way there's not a lot of like dead space on the live, which if there is, people will leave your show. A lot of people join in and then leave. So repeat information as you do an item, repeat. So if I were to pull an item out, I would say this is an Avenue size 14-16 top. It's made of 95% polyester, 5% spandex. The arm width, and I'm holding it up, right? The arm width is 22 inches from armpit to armpit. It's 27 inches from shoulder to bottom hem. Again, it's, has some good stretch. It's 95% polyester, 5% spandex. And then I'd walk up to the camera and I would show the detail. And hopefully you would have lights set up. I have 2 lights set up on either side of me. And so you show the detail. And once you show the detail, then you can go in and select, your start bid and how many seconds. So essentially, when you're setting up your closet and you're on your laptop, when you input the listings into your Poshmark Live, I found that using my iPhone to input that one by one, that way I select which order it's in. If you just keep selecting them on the laptop and then put all of them in your show at one time, there's no order. So as of now, like I'm in a beta group for Poshmark Live Shows. And so as of now, there's no order. I just select all of them and input them into the show. On my phone, I can select 1, add listing, 2, add listing, 3, add listing. And that way it's in order, and that's super helpful. It's really also beneficial for shipping purposes as well. So with that being said, during the show, you'll want to pin an item. Basically meaning you go in, you want to select the item before you start talking about it, or as you start talking about it. Go in, select the item, so that at the very bottom, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've probably watched a live and are curious about it. So when you watch a live, at the very bottom there's the auction item that's like up for auction. If there isn't, then the person didn't select it. They didn't pin the item or feature the item. So you select the item, it shows up on the bottom, and then you start talking about the item. When you're ready for auction, there's a button that says auction item. You click that button, and then a prompt comes up, and it's a $ with a blank line. That's where you click, you input your $8, $10, $50, $300 start bid, and then underneath that you'll see 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 60 seconds. That is referring to the length of time you want the auction to go. So my first show, I did 30-second bids. I found that was a little bit too quick because the people that were maybe like on the fence, they didn't have enough time to convince themselves to bid. It also wasn't enough time to see people bidding on the item so that the bids could continue, because once you bid on an item under 10 seconds, it added some seconds to extend the time. So my second show was 45-second bids, a couple 60-second bids on items that I really knew were going to sell. So maybe an item was MSRP, which means like retail pricing, say $150, and I did a start bid of $10 or $15. Like those are ones that I knew were going to sell, so I did 60 seconds. The other ones, 45 seconds was a pretty good speed. It kept the show moving, but also gave time to allow people to actually bid on what they wanted to. And so when I started the auction, I would say, this is a $10 start bid, 45 seconds, and go. And I would click the button. And saying "and go" is kind of a sales technique. Back in the day, like when I was 18, so this is 14 years ago now, I used to sell Cutco knives. And you had to prompt people essentially to purchase them. And so with that being said, I would have to prompt people to, like, subconsciously prompt people to start bidding. So saying "and go," the word "go," is that subconscious like prompt. And I am consciously saying it, right? Of course. But there's something that we're triggered to since we were kids, since we're born, to listen and follow and, be told what to do. And so "and go" is key. That's like a key selling subconscious point, okay? That's really helpful, in my opinion, to get bids. So the next thing is, your framing. Okay, so when you hold something up, okay, I've got a water bottle here. When you hold something up, depending on which interface that the person's using, on the laptop, maybe like 25%, not even, is taken on the bottom for comments and then the listing, right? Like where you see the listing at the bottom. On an iPad, about 25%, maybe a little more, like probably about here on the screen, is comments. Okay, on a phone, it's about here. It's like between a third to like half the screen is comments. So if you're holding an item up, okay, and you're trying to show a detail, it's really awkward to like hold this up so high right now, but everybody, no matter which platform, can see this. If you're describing, like in my frame right now, I can see my frame. This is in frame. But when you're selling, the comments will be covering this part up. So if this is like a key detail that you're showing, you won't be able to actually see that. So you have to try to remember to hold the item up more, even though it's awkward. Like, I know it's awkward. There was a couple times where I felt myself like dropping the item a little bit, and I would have to consciously like lift it back up. With that being said, bundling, right now there's nothing that can be done about bundling. It's kind of a preset. Each item has a bundle. How I've gotten around that is anyone that purchases an item from me in auction, I am letting them go into my closet, and 1 item, 2 items, 3 items, any items they're interested after the auction, I am giving free shipping. That way they're only paying shipping once, right? Does that make sense? They bought something in my auction, they paid full price for shipping. They can go into my closet, keep purchasing things if they want, bundle me, and then I offer free shipping. So that has helped. I've gotten, after my first show, I had 2 bundles, 2 or 3. 2 bundles, I think, after my first show. And after my second show, I think I had 2 or 3 bundles also. And these are like 4 or 5 item bundles, offered free shipping. Like, you have a 50 item show, I had 46 items get bid on, I had another 8 items bid on, or essentially like bought after the show. Like, that adds up. So with that being said, let me show you. This is the frame, okay? This is a frame grab of what it looks like as a seller. So you can see the item is listed on the bottom. Okay, the item's listed on the bottom. That was my friend Lisa's listing. Right here is where you click to have things in your show. Okay? When you click this button, this like little box here, all your listings will pop up. And all your listings look like this. They're like, again, Lisa's show. All your listings look like this. Okay, so you know, like on Poshmark, it's gallery, 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 gallery. This is a list item, so you're gonna scroll and see all the lists. So the other thing is, so this right here flips the camera. Most of us know that. This flips the camera, so you start the show with it looking at you, and you can flip the camera, so if you don't want to be on camera and you need to show an item, you just flip it. This button right here will mute you. So if you need to have a quick conversation or something, just click this and you're muted. Just make sure you unmute yourself. Okay, I change all my listings to, I like the number 7, it's my favorite number. And so I change all my listings to 777. That way people don't see the prices that I had on them in my closet. I had a sweater that was listed, it was a $60 retail MSRP. $45 I had it listed in my closet. During the auction, I left a listing open as like an anything goes. So if someone saw something, I could pull that up and then go grab something that they saw in my closet and auction it right then and there. And this sweater ended up getting bid on. It went to $39. Now that's still lower than my price that I had in my closet, right? Because it was $45 in my closet. But if they would have seen it say $45, chances are they don't feel like $39 is, even though it's cheaper, it's not as great of a deal as it could be. Like maybe it would have only been bid on at $20 because they're trying to get something as a good deal. Does that make sense? And I've seen bids go over what they had. Like someone had something listed for like $20 in their closet and they put it in auction and it went to like $40. They like doubled their price. But it's not what you think it's worth. It's what the buyer thinks it's worth. So you don't want to preset and try to give the buyer an idea of what they should be paying, right? If you do that, then there's no point in doing a live show, right? The buyer decides on what they're willing to pay for it, not the seller. The seller gives a suggestion. Essentially, that's what we do. We give suggestions on what we think the price should be. And if the buyer agrees with that price, they will buy it right out. If they don't agree with that price, they give us an offer, right? So with an auction, the buyer decides on what they're willing to pay. Does that make sense? So you don't want to take away, basically the thought process from the buyer themselves. So with that being said, at the bottom you'll see comments. At the top, you'll see your closet name. Okay. At this side, the top right, you'll see your viewer count. How many people are watching your show live. So just so that you can see, this is my setup. So this is my room, and I had 2 lights. I had my overhead chandelier light, and then I had my 2 lights on either side. I had my iPad on a stand, and then I also had my phone next to me in case I needed to go in and like change a listing or something, like if I made a mistake or if someone wanted something on the spot. I went and marked that listing not for sale, changed the price to $777 very quickly, and then continued on with the auction. So you can see my setup. Okay, so this is after my second show. This is everything that sold that night. So this is everything that sold that night. Okay, so you can see like I legitimately sold all of these items in one live show. My first live show was 2 hours, 15 minutes. My second live show was 3 hours, like 20 minutes. My first live show, that means after the 20% fees were taken out from Poshmark, I net about $500. In another video, I'll get exacts for you so that you can see. And on my second live show, I net about $700. Now, I went longer, same amount of items, but the 45-second bid allowed people to bid higher. And I actually had nicer, when I say nicer, that's relative, right? But I had more new with tag items from higher brand names in my first show, more expensive brand names in my first show than I did my second show. And I made almost $200 or close to $200 more in my second show than I did in my first show. And that was, I really believe that that's because I did a 45-second bid versus a 30-second bid. So I think I'll do another video. About shipping, because the first show I shipped everything out. My show ended around midnight, and I was at the post office dropping off all those packages by 10 a.m., like 10:15 a.m. So I was able to ship 40 some odd packages, plus the couple bundles within hours. And then the second show, same thing. I had all of those packages that I just showed you, all of these, everything was shipped. Everything was shipped within one day. I mean, hours, 12 hours. And also, because I have this picture right here, I number all my things, and that's what I did with the hangers. So I can get in more in depth in another video. That's just a quick overview. If you're able to do it and the option is open to you for a live, you should 100% try it, right? Because you should try everything at least once, and if you don't like it, you never have to do it again. I had never done a live show before prior to Poshmark Live. I've done 2 live shows now. 100 items were in the show, 92 items received bids on them. It's kind of a game changer for me. It's a game changer with how I see my business model. And right now, I'm a part-time reseller. I work in the film industry. That's what I do for my career. And so this is something that anybody can do. That's kind of, I think, where I'm going to leave you. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out. My closet on Poshmark is Lauren Char 27, LAURENCHAR 27. And so I will link it below. Feel free to comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you next video. Bye.